So President Yoon Suk-yeol is in the Philippines with a mission to tighten collaboration between Seoul and Manila. That is why we are breaking into our regular programming to deliver live coverage of the opening ceremony welcoming him to the Southeast Asian country. Now, while we wait for that to happen, let's turn to Professor Min Jung-hoon. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, like I said, President Yoon is the first South Korean leader to visit Manila in over a decade, exactly 13 years. What makes his visit so, timely?
Yes, as you mentioned, the President Yoon is the first South Korean leader to go on a state visit to the Philippines in 13 years. But he is supposed to visit 3 Southeast Asian countries this time, including the 2 state visits to the Philippines and Singapore, and then a trip to Laos for attending the annual ASEAN Summit and ASEAN plus 3 summit meetings. And he's attending the ASEAN Summit meeting for the 3 years in a row. And the ASEAN countries have become an important regional partner for South Korean economy and security. For the economy, South Korea has pursued diversifying its trade beyond China and U.S., and the ASEAN countries could be a meaningful alternative. Now, South Korea's export to the South Asian member states represents about 17% of all South Korean exports. And the ASEAN countries have paid attention to the security situations on the Korean Peninsula. So they are worried about North Korea's increasing military threats.
Indeed.
Yes, and they perceive that the North Korea's military provocations are really the grave threat to their regional security. And they have supported the South Korean positions in the international community. And among them, the Philippines is a good regional partner for South Korea for both security and economy. First, on the security side, the 2 countries, South Korea and the Philippines, are likely to discuss about how to enhance their maritime security cooperation, considering a situation where tensions between the Philippines and China over the disputed islands in the South China Sea or West Philippine Sea have become higher. And the Philippines is interested in enhancing its defense cooperation with South Korea because South Korea has got experience and the capabilities in maritime security. And on the economic side, the Philippines is a mineral-rich country with an abundant young population. And therefore, it has room for partnership with South Korea's technology, the powerhouse. So taken together, the state visit to the Philippines this time is for enhancing cooperation between the 2 countries, and it can positively affect the South Korea economy and the security.
Well, Professor Min, a huge chunk of President Yoon's visit to Manila will be on Philippines' pursuit of resuming its long-paused nuclear power project. Tell us more about that.
Right. The Philippines has the fast-growing economy in the region, and therefore it is important to secure a stable, reliable, and sustainable system for energy supply. So the Philippines want to strengthen the role of the nuclear power generation to deal with climate change and the energy crisis. And as a matter of fact, the Philippines launched a project to build a nuclear power plant in the Bataan region, about 100 kilometers west of Manila in the 1970s. But unfortunately, the facility has not been commissioned due to the safety concerns in the wake of the 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster in Ukraine. But the time passed, and now the Philippines want to cooperate with South Korea on the nuclear power plant project. And as you know, South Korea could be an optimal partner based on its advanced construction and operation technologies.
Well, so it looks like South Korea is on a roll, attracting all these countries around the world, looking to, develop and, explore more nuclear power projects on top of, Chile. And of course, isn't the Philippines, like you said, rich in core minerals like, nickel? What can South Korea, benefit from Philippines' such rich minerals?
Yes, again, the Philippines is a mineral-rich country with abundant young population. So it has enough room for economic partnership with South Korea. And in the year of 2023, the Philippines is ranked second by nickel production output and the sixth by the cobalt production. And it also had a 5.6% GDP growth in 2023, and it became the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia. And as you know, South Korea has the world-class manufacturing facility capabilities in advanced technologies like semiconductors, large volume batteries, and medical supplies, or the bioindustry. So it needs to secure stable supply chains for core or major minerals to make those the products. And as you know, in terms of the U.S.-China strategic competition, each country tries to secure the stable and reliable supply chains close to each continent. And the same situation for South Korea.
Right.
And ASEAN countries like the Philippines and Indonesia are very important regional partners for South Korea in terms of major or core minerals and quality labor. And they are advantageous to South Korea because they are relatively close geographically. So enhancing economic cooperation with the Philippines and other ASEAN member states should be important for South Korea's economic interests.
And also on top of that, young population is such an appeal to South Korea, considering we are becoming a very super-aged society. And also, Professor Min, you mentioned this earlier, Philippines are taking a leading role in Southeast Asia when it comes to dealing with North Korea issues, especially nuclear and missile threats. How has the Philippines been vocal about it?
Right, and the ASEAN member states, including the Philippines, have paid much attention to North Korea's military threats. I remember that I visited the Philippines and other ASEAN member states in the past and delivered lectures about North Korea-U.S. relations. And I was surprised to see that they had lots of interest and that they truly had shared the grave security threats with South Korea and East Asian countries. And I found that they are truly the cautious about what kind of the provocations North Korea has made, something like that. So again, they think that North Korea's nuclear and missile provocations can threaten their regional stability. So they often made official statements to criticize North Korea's reckless nuclear and missile threats. And as you know, some ASEAN member states maintain diplomatic relations with North Korea, and therefore their voices could be heard by Pyongyang. So it's important for South Korea to receive their support when it promotes its positions against North Korea's military threats in the regional community and the international community. And for this time, before the state visit to the Philippines, in a written interview with the Associated Press, President Yoon mentioned that he would highlight the North Korea's recent disclosure of a nuclear facility, which he believes is aimed at drawing U.S. attention before the upcoming U.S. presidential election. And he would warn North Korea's potential provocations like the nuclear and missile provocation or tests. And he also mentioned that at the upcoming ASEAN summit, he would stress the importance of denuclearization of North Korea, which is a prerequisite for realizing a free, peace, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. So it means that the security situation on the Korean Peninsula or in East Asia could directly link to the security, the stability and the security situations in the Southeast Asia and in the Pacific region. So the Philippines is important in terms of sending the clear message to the regional community and the international community that North Korea's military provocation should not be ignored or forgiven by any member in the region.
And I remember back in 2017, the Philippines also minimized the diplomatic, interactions with North Korea, as an effort to, warn North Korea over its nuclear and missile threats, right?
Yes, right. And it showed the clear the determination of the Philippines that North Korea's military threat should be acceptable by any ASEAN member state, including the Philippines.
And also considering the regional closeness, of course, for Philippines, it's also a grave concern, when it comes to missile development and nuclear threats coming from the north. And on top of that, South Korea has also taken a, leading role in preserving freedom in South China Sea. And that's a huge message for the Philippines, right?
Yes, and as I mentioned earlier today, South Korea and the Philippines are likely to discuss about how to enhance maritime security, considering situation where the tensions over the disputed island in the South Sea between the Philippines and China have become higher. So the Philippines has a strong demand to enhance its maritime security, and it has significant interest in defense cooperation with South Korea. And as you mentioned, South Korea's potential security support to the Philippines would be in line with South Korea's stance that it supports preserving freedom in the South China Sea, and it would not tolerate any unilateral change in the status quo by force. So I think that South Korea is open to improve its defense cooperation with the Philippines, but mainly in terms of the maritime security.
And in recent years, the Philippines has been seeking to secure, tight trilateral cooperation with the U.S. and Japan, something like Seoul has with Washington and Tokyo. Professor Min, do you think there can be a quadruple cooperation between South Korea, the Philippines, the U.S. and Japan? What do you think?
It depends. Okay, I think that even if South Korea could be open to improve defense cooperation with the Philippines, but it should be about just maritime security, not the traditional hard security. Because South Korea also wants to maintain a favorable relations with China.
Right.
And so I think that South Korea would be reluctant to enhance quadruple cooperation among U.S., South Korea, Japan, and the Philippines in terms of the hard security cooperation, because such the cooperation could be perceived by China that South Korea is very active in terms of containing China around the South China Sea. And as a matter of fact, South Korea does not now perceive China as immediate security threat, and has a little interest in playing a significant role around the South China Sea, and playing a significant role, will affect significantly in terms of the resolving the disputes in the South China Sea. It's beyond South Korea's national interest. So I don't think that South Korea would join a quadruple security cooperation. Instead, South Korea would be more active and play a significant role in enhancing economic and technological cooperation among the four countries. It goes well with South Korea's economic and national interests.
Definitely. So, like you said, no maybe security alliance with, the Philippines, the U.S. and Japan. Then what about the defense cooperation itself between Seoul and Manila? Can they be upgraded this time?
Yes, and again, the two countries could upgrade or enhance their defense cooperations just in terms of military security or the cyber security or something like that, not hard security. That's mainly because, again, South Korea's hard security interests just lie around the Korean Peninsula, not beyond the East Asia. And if South Korea's defense interest goes beyond the East Asia, beyond the Korean Peninsula, beyond the North Korea's military threat, then South Korea would face the serious challenge by China.
Of course.
So it does not represent South Korea's the national interest or the security interest. So by now, the defense cooperation with the Philippines should be about the maritime security, just helping the Philippines enhance its defense capabilities against any kind of forceful push or the aggressive actions by any actor around their territory, but not specified by China or something like that.
Right. And also, of course, countering North Korean threats and missile threats, that would be also in line with both of the countries' common interests for now. Now, let's talk about the Philippines Build Better More project, the so-called BBM project. Tell us more about the project first.
Yes, and the Philippines has got the infrastructure structure called the BBK because it's fast-growing. It has the fast-growing economy, but it still has the very old and very the low quality the infrastructure. If you go to the Manila, you can easily see how bad the infrastructure, the facilities, capabilities is. Like all the bridges, all the buildings, and the roads, and airports, and other things. But in terms of the political corruptions and the income gaps among the people of the Philippines, it has not been easy to go through the infrastructure the project to enhance the quality of life of the people there. So the Philippines government has got the ambitious the plan to improve its infrastructure, the capabilities, and the South Korea could be the optimal partner for the project because, as you know, South Korea has got a lot of experience in terms of the constructing the infrastructure, infrastructures in the overseas, including the Middle East and African countries. So South Korea could be the optimal partner for the Philippines in terms of the infrastructure the project because the South Korea has got the competitiveness in terms of the quality, delivery time, and other technologies.
So highly developed infrastructure for South Korea to offer the Philippines, and also in return, Philippines could, maybe provide some good core minerals to South Korea. On top of that, what can the Philippines offer South Korea in the meantime?
Well, again, the South Korea has got the fast-growing economy, and it also has, as you mentioned, and it has plenty of the core minerals and the abundant young the population, the good quality laborers, and those things are the South Korea. Those things are some kind of the challenges that the South Korea is facing.
Right.
South Korea is a lack of the young population in terms of the quality labor and the lack of the core minerals and the major minerals and other things. So the Philippines could be the pretty good source of providing those important materials and the labors to South Korea. So in terms of providing, or in terms of the teaching technologies, or in terms of the sharing technology with the Philippines, the South Korea could have the important labor, core minerals, and other things. So the two countries could have the win-win situations in terms of enhancing the economic and technological cooperations. And if you visit the ASEAN countries, you can easily see their response that they truly badly want to enhance the economic cooperations, technological cooperations with South Korea. Because South Korea, unlike Japan and China, could be the more reliable and tangible than Japan and China. So South Korea could be the number one choice for the ASEAN countries. Which means that the South Korean government should be more active in terms of improving the economic and technological cooperations and human exchanges with the ASEAN member states.
We can also, speaking of human-to-human exchanges, we can also look forward to some, cultural cooperation and exchanges as well, right?
Right, and so the Hallyu, the K culture is very popular among the ASEAN countries.
Very.
Of course, the other parts of the world. So and lots of the young generations in the ASEAN countries, they want to learn the Korean and they want to have their personal experiences. Coming to the South Korea and spend some time like the sightseeing, and they want to have some kind of the school time or the learning in terms of exchange program. And K-culture and the young generation like that would be the very important human resources that South Korea can utilize in the future, because when they come to South Korea and when they are more exposed to the K-culture, they tend to have the more positive attitude, the perceptions about South Korea and the South Korean culture as a whole. So they would be a very important the human capital or the resources when the South Korea want to improve any kind of the cooperation with those countries. They would welcome South Korea's the contact to their countries. So it would be a kind of the truly important investment for the future.
Good investment.
Yes.
Speaking of, culture and human-to-human exchanges, we have to talk about tourism. So many people in South Korea, visit the Philippines for a vacation and just for, holidays. That can also be extended, right?
Right. And the South Korea and the Philippines, and nowadays the South Korean people often go to for the other countries in terms of sightseeing and their vacations. And ASEAN countries could be the important, the affordable and attractive choice for them, because they have truly wonderful natural environments, and they also have plenty of good foods and cultural attractions and other things. So I think that also the South Korean people will go to the ASEAN member countries, states, including the Philippines, more as time passes by.
Right, and it looks like the welcoming ceremony for President Yoon Suk-yeol has started. We see the two leaders of Seoul and Manila standing. Now, this should be the highest level of reception that country's leader can receive, right?
Yes, absolutely. The President Yoon is going through the state visit to the Philippines. So I think that the Philippines shows the highest level of receiving the President Yoon. So that would be the highest level of how the Philippines receives the foreign leaders.
Right, and the welcoming ceremony was supposed to take place outdoor, outside, but due to the severe weather conditions, it is taking place indoor, but still, it looks pretty grand with the lighting and all the anthem and the ceremony.
So, as you can see on the screen, you can see the well-organized the procedures there. Right there in the media. So it seems that all the people there went through all the rehearsals and they're pretty good, and it shows that the South Korea is a very important partner to the Philippines, and they try to show the highest level of reception by the Philippine government.
Right. And also included in Yoon's trip to the Philippines is a Korea-Philippines Business Forum, which will invite business leaders from both of the countries. Professor Min, what kind of economic synergy can we expect from that business forum?
Right. It is known that about 40 business leaders went with the President Yoon this time. So they will go through the academic forum with their counterparts in Manila, and they will talk about how to enhance their cooperation between the counterparts and in the business sector. And we can see that they will mainly talk about how to enhance the cooperation in the fields of energy and the major minerals and technologies and other things.
Now, there is the ceremonial honor guard For those of our viewers who have just tuned in, we are covering live. We're delivering live coverage of President Yoon Suk-yeol's state visit to the Philippines. What you're seeing right now is the welcoming ceremony for President Yoon to the Philippines, Manila. He is accompanied by the First Lady Kim Gun-hee, and he is now shaking hands of the Filipino delegation welcoming President Yoon at the Southeast Asian capital. Now, this welcoming ceremony pretty much calls for the official state visit to the Philippines, right?
Right, yes, and it is known that President Yoon is going on a state visit to the Philippines, and as I mentioned earlier today, it's been about 13 years.
Right.
Since the South Korean president visited the Philippines as a state visit.
So a lot to look forward to on the economic front and also diplomatic front. Like you said, good core minerals and good quality labor from the Philippines, and also good and well-developed high-quality infrastructure from South Korea. And these are just the tip of the iceberg that we can look forward to, right?
Right, and the state visit to the Philippines this time could be advantageous to South Korea in both security and economy. And on the security side, Philippines wants enhance defense cooperation with South Korea, mainly in terms of maritime security. And on the economic side, it has lots of the economic interests that it want to improve its economic cooperation with South Korea, because South Korea has got the resources and the know-how and the capabilities in terms of infrastructure and the nuclear power plant projects and other things. And South Korea also wants to secure the stable supply chain countries, including the Philippines and Indonesia, because as I mentioned earlier today, the South Korea has got world-class manufacturing capabilities in advanced technologies, and it needs lots of core and major minerals that the Philippines has got underground or around the territories. And South Korea, in terms of enhancing its economic cooperation with the Philippines and Indonesia, it could secure the stable and reliable supply chains in those products.
Alrighty, Professor Min, thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
Now, do stay with us. We will be back with the press conference of the two leaders at 12:20 p.m. Korea time. Until then, goodbye.